This is part one of chapter 8. In this chapter, we're going to discuss political philosophy. Political philosophy is the study of political societies using the methods of philosophy. In political philosophy, we study the origin of the government and the legitimacy of the government. That is, where does the government come from? Can the government justify its own existence? Why do we need it? What would happen if there's no government? This chapter also talks about justice. Justice is the idea that people should get what is fair and what is their due. People should get what is fair and what is their due. Also, this chapter discusses the distributive justice. That is, how do we distribute the benefits and burdens of societies? Burdens would include military services, paying your taxes. Benefits would include rights and welfare and jobs and so forth. Um, for example, Bill Gates is worth, I don't know, billions of dollars. Should we tax Bill Gates? Should we have him pay more in taxes? Uh, what should be the basis of distribution? Should it be utility because it's useful? People, should it be need? Should it be merit, the fact that some people work hard and they deserve more? Should it be quality? Is equality itself a good thing? Should we desire it? And should it be um, entitlement? Now, let's go back to the question, where does the government come from? You got to go back thousands of years. Human beings had no societies, no cities, no laws. So our ancestors were um, nomadic pretty much. So they would move around from camp to camp, places to places, hunting buffaloes, but they never settled down. The government arose in the past because of the birth of agriculture. That is when our ancestors began to farm. They have cattle and grains. You can't just go away and disappear and abandon your farm and your cattle. So they decided to slowly begin to settle down. And if you settle down, you need a place to stay, and people begin to build cities and have laws and um, government. Back then, notice beings kind of behave like the animals. To survive, you do whatever you have to do. A lion, if he has to kill somebody to survive, the lion will kill somebody. You just gotta eat something. Human beings did exactly the same thing. They used to live in tribes and groups. Let's say my tribe has settled down. Can we have cattle and grain? Let's say your tribe has not settled down yet. Then your tribe one day said, you know what? Farming is actually hard work. Raising cattle, that's hard work. Those people over there, they have food, they have grains, they have everything that we do, everything that we need. Why don't we just go over there and just kill them and slaughter them? And your tribe would do exactly this to my tribe. You'd simply invade us and slaughter everyone. So the government arose pretty much because there was mutual enslavement. Everybody was enslaving everybody. I enslave you, somebody else enslave me, then somebody else enslave the other person. It goes on and on and on and on. This is why all cities back then they had big, thick walls. All cities had those big, thick walls. Why? If a tribe invaded you, they conquered you, or they broke into your walls and they got into your city. The rules were simple back then. Every man will be killed. every man will be slaughtered, every child will be made a slave, and every woman will be raped and then made slave. It was brutal. There were no human rights. Conscience wasn't as strong the way conscience is strong in us nowadays. Morality wasn't as strong. So those things slowly, they had to evolve. We had to invent, invent them. So human beings, we couldn't survive in those conditions. So hence, we began to build um, government. Really, its purpose back then was to prevent slavery, and also how do we distribute the grains um, um, that we have. Now, this government back then, they were also brutal governments, but having a government is, no matter how bad the government is actually better than not having any government at all. By the way, this is what actually true freedom is. True freedom, absolute freedom. In our culture, some of us may think, well, freedom is a good thing. The more freedom we have, the better it will be. Except you clearly see that's not true. The animals are completely free. They have no rules, they have no laws. They notice how they behave. If you had more freedom, if I had more freedom, it would be chaos. Absolute freedom means, unlimited freedom means, I do whatever I want, you do whatever you want. And this means eventually the two of us will clash. If you have something, I want it. If I'm the bigger man, I take it. Of course, somebody else who's stronger than me will come over and take what I have. This means no matter how strong I am, how a good fighter I am, 10 people who are way weaker than me, 10 of them will take me down. So absolute freedom, again, means I do whatever I want, you do whatever you want. If you have something I want it, I take it. If I'm the bigger man, if I have something you want it, you take it. If you are the bigger man. So this is why freedom is dangerous. This is why the government, by definition, limits freedom. The government diminishes freedom, takes freedom away from us because it would be chaos. But notice, when the government takes freedom away from us, when they do it too much, it becomes oppression. North Korea, something like that. So this means the government has to exist, has to find a perfect balance. When they take too much freedom away from us, that's oppression. That's not good. But when freedom is too much, it becomes chaos. This is why you see no one is strong enough to be completely free. The government has to protect you from freedom. Because again, if I were completely free, if you have something, I want it, I take it. If you fight me, I kill you. Or you kill me. So no one in the world is strong enough to be free absolutely, completely. So the government has to limit freedom. But notice, by limiting freedom, personal freedom, individual freedom, this creates society and cooperation, and this creates greater social freedom. For example, everybody nowadays can just buy a plane ticket and go anywhere in the world. In the past, you couldn't. I could simply take my car and say, you know what, I'm gonna drive and go all the way to California or something. In the past, I couldn't. So when the government limits personal freedom, this gives rise to cooperation, and this gives rise to greater social freedom, and this gives rise to all the creation, all the technology that we have. Can you build your own airplane? No. Can you build your own car? No. Can you build your own highway? No. Airport? No. But notice if they did not limit personal freedom, it will be sort of like the movie The Purge. The Purge. People would be killing each other. So you limit personal freedom, this creates space, cooperation, creation. That's why we have all those technologies. This is also why it's really messed up. It's a bad thing when government officials break the law. Every politician should have a sense of um, history. That is, they should know how far we come from before we have democracy, before we have human rights, before we have women rights, rights for women. We come from a long, 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 long way. In the past, there was no way I would be sitting in a university and teach, and you couldn't do it either. So whether you want it or not, the government is necessary. It's a monster, but it's a necessary monster because without the government, things would probably be worse. Worse. Now, what is the best form of government? Plato and Socrates in the past, they thought the best form of government is a meritocracy. Meritocracy. That is a government based on merit. They thought democracy was actually a bad thing. Society should be based on merit. Merit, not need, not equality, not entitlement, a merit. They thought uh, a just society should be like the soul. A human soul has three parts: reason, spirit, appetite. Justice is when each part of the soul is working properly, it's doing its job. Likewise, the government should have three classes: military, workers, and philosopher kings. Justice is when each class is doing what it's supposed to do. In this society, the first two classes, the military and philosopher kings, they don't work. The job of the philosopher king is to simply think, make wise decisions to govern the nation. The philosopher kings are the one with wisdom. If you recall when we studied the story of the cave, the philosopher king is the man who broke from the train, went outside, has been into the sunshine, and has understanding and wisdom. When he comes back, we should make him king. So those people, they shouldn't work. The military, they shouldn't work. Their job is to protect the city or the country. The workers, these are the people who are not wise enough, who are not strong enough, not educated enough to either be soldiers or philosopher kings. Workers include sailors and farmers and shoemakers, everybody who works. Their job is to simply work. And since they work, society should give them everything that they want. If they want five wives, give them five wives. If they want 10 children, allow them to have 10 children. If they want land and gold, silver, allow them to have land, gold, and silver. Because they work, you have to give them what they want. So in this society, only one class works. The bottom class works. The philosopher kings, the military, they don't work. Why? Um, Socrates and Plato thought this is a way to control greed. The people running the country, they shouldn't be motivated by money, by wealth, by gold. They should simply be wise enough to make a good job. But the people at the bottom, the masses, you can use greed to motivate them. Greed is a way to motivate people to work and work and work. Now, one issue with this model is that the bottom class, the workers, they're not allowed to make any political decisions. Why? Again, they're not smart enough, they're not wise enough. Their job is simply to work. If you don't have the training, the wisdom, let's say you're just a farmer, a shoemaker, then they can't give you power to govern the country because you don't have the qualifications, you don't have the wisdom, the training. So if you're a farmer, just farm. If you're a shoemaker, just make shoes. So this means the classes they remain fixed. The philosopher kings don't become workers, and the workers don't become military and philosopher kings. The children in the system they can go up and down. If a child was born in the higher class, they try to teach you science and geometry and philosophy and art and history and music, but you're not really smart enough. You're not getting it. You want to become a farmer, a shoemaker, a wrestler. Then they're going to demote you. They're going to put you at the bottom class, in the bottom class. If a child was born in the bottom class, say your father is a farmer or a shoemaker, but they notice you're smart enough, you have wisdom, you have talent, they're going to promote you. So again, the parents, they're stuck. If you're a worker, just work. If you're a military person, just do your job. If you're a philosopher king, just do your job. So only one class works, then we have to use greed to motivate these people to work. The children, depending on how smart they are, they can move up and down. So again, this is a way of preventing people without the proper qualifications from getting into government. The wisest people should have the job. Why? Again, Plato thought that if philosophers don't become kings, if kings don't become philosophers, there can't be peace because we're being governed by the wrong people, people with no um, um, qualifications, pretty much. Now, somebody was listening carefully when Socrates was explaining all this. The person said, "Well, the soul system won't work. What if the workers want power? What if the philosopher king, since they don't have gold and silver, because their job is just to think and make wise choices, and they look down, they look at the bottom class, those people have gold and wives and all that. What if they become envious?" This is where the idea of a noble lie came from. Socrates and Plato thought eventually the ruling class has to lie to the people. A noble lie means for the sake of peace, stability, cooperation, the ruling class, the government should tell a lie to everyone so they can accept their position. For example, he said, well, we could tell the people when the gods were making us, the gods put gold in some soul. That's why those people are fit to be king, rulers, philosopher kings. The gods put silver in some soul. That's why these people are brave. They're soldiers. And the gods put iron or brass in some souls. That's why those people should just work. So ultimately, the ruling class has to lie to the people. So each person can accept the position. Don't ask so many questions. Again, if your job is to work, is to farm, just farm. If your job is to be a soldier, just be a soldier. If your job is to be a philosopher king, then just do um, your job. Now, since the whole thing is based on a lie, eventually even Plato and Socrates thought it will not work. In the next video, we're going to explain why um, meritocracy, since in this context, ultimately it's based on a lie, will not work, and we're simply gonna go over different forms of government. Thank you for watching.